.com/Democracy Now! This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. More details have emerged about the sex crime allegations that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange faces in Sweden. Assange was released on bail from a London prison Thursday, is now under house arrest at a country mansion. His next hearing, set for January 11th, will determine whether he'll be extradited to Sweden to face allegations of rape and sexual assault. On Friday, The Guardian newspaper obtained unauthorized access to a Swedish police report that provides the first complete account of the allegations against Assange. According to The Guardian, the allegations are based on a 10-day period in August when Assange was visiting Stockholm, during which he had sexual relationships with two women that started out as consensual, but the women say they turned into assaults. The Guardian reports one woman told police that Assange pulled her clothes off and snapped her necklace. Then she said he held down her arms and legs and prevented her from grabbing a condom numerous times. After he let go and agreed to wear a condom, she claims he did something to the condom to rip it. Assange denied the allegations, telling police he did not tear the condom and that the woman had allowed him to sleep in her bed for the following week. The other woman in the case told police Assange had sex with her while she was asleep without using a condom. On August 20th, the women went to Stockholm police. They had not decided whether to report Assange's behavior as a crime, but the prosecutor on duty that night opened an investigation, issued an arrest warrant for Assange. Assange and his supporters have said the case against him is part of a wider conspiracy to discredit him because of his work with WikiLeaks. Speaking to reporters outside his friend's mansion in eastern England, where he must live while on bail, Assange said the allegations are part of a smear campaign.
This has been a very successful smear campaign so far, but I think its days are numbered, and people are starting to wonder, is what is claimed really true? And if it is true, where's the evidence? Why has no evidence been provided, even to me and my defense attorneys?
Meanwhile, the lawyer for the two women, Klaus Borgstrom, has denied the allegations against Assange are part of a political conspiracy.
Well, I think it's very, very unfortunate for my two clients that they were molested in some way or another by a person like Julian Assange, because what has happened afterwards is not that they will have a fair chance to, at this moment, because they are sort of being treated like the perpetrators themselves, and there is a conspiracy and all that nonsense. So it's very, very unfortunate.
The case against Assange has sparked international controversy as well as controversy within the feminist community. We're joined by two women right now. Jaclyn Friedman is Executive Director of Women Action in the Media and the editor of the anthology Yes Means Yes, Visions of Female Sexual Power and a World Without Rape. She's joining us from Boston. Naomi Wolf is a social critic, author of 7 books, including The Beauty Myth, The End of America. She's joining us here in New York. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Jaclyn Friedman, as this information comes out, why don't you talk about your thoughts on the we can't even say charges against Julian Assange because he has not yet been charged.
We can say allegations. Certainly these women are alleging a crime. What I want to say is that the details certainly have become more clear since that unauthorized leak, but we've known those basic facts for weeks, that the allegations, in fact, we've known them since August, that the allegations were that he held one woman down, that he raped another in her sleep. These allegations have been out there. The Guardian has been reporting them. Rape is a very serious crime, and it's also one of the most underreported crimes across the globe. And one of the reasons is because every time the issue comes up in the media, people come out of the woodwork to blame the victims and to minimize the crime. And unfortunately, when we see someone who is a progressive hero like Assange is, those critics, those people who are doing that minimization and that victim blaming often come from the left as well as the right, and we've seen that across the board. Unfortunately, with Naomi Wolf has participated in that, as well as Michael Moore, Keith Olbermann, Glenn Beck. Of course, plenty of people on the right are participating as well. And the result of that is not only that these women are receiving death threats, they are in hiding. One of them has gone to Palestine because she couldn't feel safe in Sweden anymore. But the even more important result of that, when we perpetuate rape myths in the media, and this is not just my opinion, this has been documented by social research, is that victims, nameless victims, victims who have been harmed by people who are not famous, become much more reluctant to take their experiences seriously, to report those experiences. The system, the justice system that's supposed to work for those victims, the cops, the juries, the prosecutors, the judges, they become much more reluctant to take these allegations seriously when they are reported, and men become less likely to identify their own behaviors as sexually violent. And the result of all of that is that rapists go free. And what we know about that is the majority of rapists are repeat rapists. So the result of perpetuating these rape myths in the mass media is that we literally are creating more rape in the world. And that's my main concern about the way these allegations have been discussed so far, is that it's doing real harm to real women around the world who have nothing to do with this case.
Naomi Wolf, your response.
Thank you. Well, Jaclyn, let me say that I'm very, very offended that you're suggesting that I'm blaming the victim. In fact, it's because of my 23 years of supporting rape victims, working in rape crisis centers, traveling around the world to report more than any journalist I know, which in a way I've been very blessed to have had the chance to do so, from Sierra Leone to Bosnia, to Ireland, to the United Kingdom, interviewing people who support rape victims and work with the legal system. It's because of that that I'm raising my voice about these very ambiguous and corrupt allegations. First of all, let me just correct you and Jaclyn. The Guardian account, which is based on leaked original documents, doesn't say that he had sex with either of these women without their consent. The reason I'm hearing from rape victims across the world who are emailing me saying, I'm a rape victim, thank you for standing up to put these charges in context, is that this is the only case I've ever seen in 23 years of supporting rape victims which is based on multiple instances of consent. If you read these allegations, he took off Miss A's clothes too quickly for her comfort. She tried to tell him to slow down, but then, quote, she allowed him to undress her. This is what the report says. The second woman says she woke to find him having sex with her. When she asked whether he was wearing a condom, he said no. Quote, according to her statement, she said, you better not have HIV. He answered, of course not. Quote, she couldn't be bothered to tell him one more time because she had been going on about the condom all night. She'd never had unprotected sex before. So if you're going to treat women as moral adults, and if you're going to take the issue of rape seriously, the person who's engaging in what he thinks is consensual sex has to be told, I don't want this. And again and again and again, these women did not say, this is not consensual. Assange was shocked when these were brought up as complaints because he had no idea that this was not a consensual situation. Miss A kept Assange in her home for the next 4 days and threw a party for him. So because I take rape seriously, because I'm aware that in 23 years, you know, in Sweden, which has been criticized by Amnesty International for disregarding rape, for letting rapists go free, because you have a better chance in Sweden if you're a rape victim of, you know, dying in an accident or getting breast cancer than having a serious rape allegation prosecuted or getting any kind of legal hearing, according to Amnesty International's report Case Closed. It's because of that that I know that these charges are utterly atypically handled. In 23 years, I've never seen any man in any situation this ambiguous involving this much consent have any kind of legal process whatsoever. And all over the world, women who've been gang raped, brutally raped, raped in alleyways, pimped, prostituted, trafficked, you know, their rapists go free. So yes, this stinks to me. And yes, it's about politics. And it's about the same kind of politics that dragged you when you were trying to cover a march, you know, violently into legal jeopardy, because really this is about a journalist who has angered the most powerful and increasingly brutal nation on earth. And it's about all of us who are journalists being dragged into a dangerous situation because of criticism of the government.
Jaclyn Friedman, your response.
Wow. First of all, I've also been working with rape survivors for 20 years, and I am one myself, and I can assure you that you do not speak for me or many of us. I, too, have been speaking with rape survivors around the world since this case broke, who have been so hurt and disappointed that someone like you, who understands about the danger of perpetuating myths in the media, would be perpetuating rape myths that hurt all of us. There are so many rape survivors that are up in arms about the way this case has been discussed and the way these women have been disregarded.
Jaclyn,
I
with all
fully
respect,
agree with, no.
Where did they say
I did not
no?
interrupt you when you were speaking, and I would appreciate if you don't appreciate. I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Okay. So I fully agree with you that the zeal, shall we say, with which these charges are being pursued is politically motivated. We have no disagreement on that. That is not an issue here. We are in agreement about that. I bet Amy agrees with us, too. But if you want to talk about what the women in Sweden want, you should look at their political actions. There's a massive Twitter campaign that the women of Sweden have launched called Let's Talk About It. I think that's right. It's
that's
translated
fair.
from
Let's
Swedish
talk about it.
They are all. I'm talking about it right now. They're coming forward and they're saying these things aren't taken seriously in Sweden, and this is an opportunity to prove that the Swedish government can take these issues seriously. This is an opportunity to set the international bar higher for the way we take seriously rape charges. Now, let's talk about those charges. Those women did not consent. If she was consenting, he had no need to hold her down. A woman in her sleep cannot consent to sex. Consent is not a light switch, okay? Just because you consented to one sexual activity, say taking your clothes off with someone, does not mean you've consented to all sexual activities.
Naomi
That's
Wolf.
preposterous.
Yeah,
if I go home with someone, it's not consenting to every single thing that might be done to me by the person I've gone home with.
Jaclyn, let's get Naomi Wolf's. We need to get. We only have a minute to go. We need to get Naomi's response.
Jaclyn, of course I agree with you that consent isn't a given, and that obviously with every sexual act, everyone needs to be sure that everyone is consenting. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know if you've actually read the Guardian report, because again and again and again—
I most absolutely
have.
All
right, so again and again and again, Assange consulted with the women about what they wanted, and they didn't say no. And to me, as a feminist, and this is why I'm hearing from so many rape victims around the world, and of course the issue needs to be discussed more obviously, but the reason, as a feminist, I am distraught about this miscarriage of justice is that you can't, you're not respecting women by casting them as unable to assert what they want, unwilling, to speak about what they wish.
Women may be afraid. If she's been held down by someone, she's afraid. She's in a state of fear. No, it's not enough. Every sexual person has the responsibility to get affirmative consent from their sexual partner.
He then
not
consulted
just no, but
with
affirmative
her
yes.
and asked her what she wanted, and she did not say no. She continued to have sex with him. And what I'm saying is—
she was afraid. He had held her down. She was in a state of fear. Many women, this happens over— you talk to rape survivors, I can't believe you don't know this. Many women are in a state of fear and unable. They're in a panic situation. This is so common as to be laughable. And the reason they don't take these seriously is because you tell them that. I travel
10 seconds. We have 10 seconds, Naomi, you can respond.
I mean, all I can say is if a man or a woman who's engaging in a sexual act that they think is consensual never hears no and hears yes, 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 let's go ahead without a condom.
Naomi Wolf, Jaclyn Friedman, we'll continue this after the show. Go to democracynow.org.